Hi, everyone.
Welcome and hello. Many of you have followed me here to the real world from another place entirely. A world fantastic. A world that I often describe as harrowing, but we've left it behind. And we find ourselves today forging on a new journey into a new world. Now, you already know me to be your narrator, and I hope that you trust in my skills. I hope that you trust that I will keep you safe as we delve into this new world, this world of darkness. I can't ramble on too long this time because we don't have any recap. It is a session zero. This is a writer's room session for the World of Darkness game that we will be running with some very lovely and amazing role players that we've gathered. The hope is to tell you an amazing saga while we get to sort of live through it organically and collaboratively. And I, as the storyteller, the narrator, and um, the uh, facilitator of this um, beautiful foray into telling something that honestly doesn't exist anywhere else. This type of story. And I'm just really excited to tell it with these people. And I'm really excited to share every aspect of what it's like to run a game of this stature, to run role-playing games in general, for people who are interested in. So if you do like what you see here, if you want to see more, if you want to learn more about role-playing games in general, please come hang out with us at the Lore Masters Guild, where you can find plenty more dice to roll, plenty more stories to tell. But we're getting a little off topic. We are here for the world of darkness. Now, before we can, I say this too often, before we can get started, there's something important we have to do. You have to meet these lovely actors that I keep mentioning. And we're going to do that right now. So, starting with our dear, dear, uh, start with our dear Hunter, a new friend, a new face, um, and highly anticipated. The hype is real. Janice Reeves, played by Q.
Hello.
We have the lovely and enigmatic, the totally level-headed and never unreasonable Keeper, played by the raging Gabo herself.
Hello, everyone. Oh, hello, everyone.
And if you've seen any of my games, you already know. If you've seen any World of Darkness game that I've been in, you already know that Sylvie Jacquinot being played by your fan favorite, Shy Girl.
Hello, hello.
Oh yeah. The lovely Ben, reprising a role as Stellan Apdinan. Sir
Greeting,
Stellan.
Sir Stellan to all you.
Sir Stellan, excuse me. Excuse me. And for the sake of my eardrums, the lovely Royal is playing Stag, the soft hearted and soft spoken druid.
Hello.
This cast of motley creatures is where our story begins. I think most dungeon masters begin telling their story with an idea, but I've always loved starting telling my stories with the characters themselves. And before I even start thinking of how the world is going to affect them, I think first of how they've affected the world in the first place. And we have a very interesting world because of these five players, and I can't wait to engage in it. So, some important things we do before we engage in any type of role playing game like this, especially a World of Darkness game where there's some very heavy topics, is we set our boundaries, and we can do so using safety tools. And the first safety tool that we are going to be using is called Lines and Veils. And we had already talked about this as a group, as whether or not we were comfortable doing this live on stream, which is another part of Lines and Veils, is setting and respecting boundaries. And as the dungeon master, the storyteller, whatever you call yourself, it's really important that you not only respect your players' boundaries, but you help to respect your own and enforce the boundaries at the table to make sure everyone always feels safe. And to do that, we need to have a conversation about what everyone feels safe with. To set the tone, I'm going to start for all of y'all. Um, Lines and veils can be described as two different things. Lines are hard lines that you do not want to pass. Lines involve subjects that you do not want to see mentioned, enacted, or in any form brought up in role play or at the table. These can be really heavy topics. These can be light topics. These can be things that bother just you. These could be things that you think bother other people. Personally, when setting lines and or veils, I rely on my classmates and my other uh, table members to speak up for themselves. So I don't like to assume what other people may be uncomfortable with. And I just talk about what I'm uncomfortable with. My lines involve sexual assault. They involve any type of sexual violence at all, harm to children and infants, and general uh, intense maliciousness, like torture, or uh, the um, intense or glorified act of attacking someone. I do realize we are in a world where things go bump in the night and we're telling a very dark story. We do not need to take it to places, in my opinion, that are unsavory. Um, so my lines kind of end there. Most of the other things are up in the air. Veils, I will veil sexual activity. I will never explicitly explain any of that. I will not hard line it. I think that romance, sex, and sexuality has a place in all types of different role playing stories, but we are not telling an erotic role playing story. So we will not be getting into that. So that's a definite veil for me. We will be fading to black on any scenes of intense romance. But with that being said, go get your lover, you know? I love a romance arc. I love those. Those are great. But lines and veils for me. Um, like I said, pretty open, and also I don't think we ever get too wild. I guess another I'll give one more veil, or maybe a line. Um, mass terrorism. So that's something that is technically possible. Uh, you can get a lot of bombs and do a lot of damage to people. Think anyone here wants to do things like that. But again, we're going to set some lines and veils. There is a magician in the group with basically nuclear ability because, mages in the world of darkness are just really scary. Um, so please don't blow up half of the planet, I guess, is what I'm trying to tell you. Um, and
I feel
um,
attacked.
I mean, if the shoe fits, I don't know what to tell you. With that being said, those, those are my lines and veils. Let's start at the end this time. Sag, why don't you tell us a little bit about your lines and veils? Start with lines, flow right into veils. And again, lines, hard lines that you do not want to pass, and veils can be faded over or faded to black.
Sure, yeah. I gotta kind of agree with you on the lines part. Any sexual harassment, I'm just not okay with. Mass terrorism, I didn't even think about that, but that's probably a pretty good line to have. Uh, that's really all I can think of that I'm really not comfortable with. I've yet to find any games in which I've been made uncomfortable, so far so good. Let's see if that
Oh, I'm gonna
changes.
try my best.
I welcome the challenge. Veils, sex, yeah. Any intercourse of that nature would probably be something best left fade to black. So I generally just agree with what you said so far.
Good, because I am always right. Stellan, why don't you
Um,
give us your lines and veils?
I would mine align very closely with yours, and I would just like to extend the children and infants to the capital I innocent class, which might
Okay.
include more things.
Women, children, infants, and the elderly.
Yeah, more or less.
Helpless animals.
But helpless animals is a great inclusion there.
Kill an animal at
That
your own
is
risk.
that is not the lowercase I innocent, which is bystanders, adults, general people. Um, People are awful. Just because they're not involved doesn't make them a capital I innocent. So um, let's protect those animals. And then usually I veil torture, but since you have a hard line there, I have no problem with that. And then just wanted to say that I've found a lot of these lines and veils with this team and a lot of other people, and I'm glad that we can all still play together.
Hell yeah. I before we go to the next point, I do want to point to that you just said, Ben, is that not only do lines and veils evolve over time in a session, but they can also evolve in time over a play group. And you can learn new things with people um, that you feel safe with. And creating this boundary setting conversation right now allows people to feel safe enough to voice their opinions and the things they're uncomfortable with in the future. So thank you for saying that because I think that's a really poignant point. Um, but Sylvie, I want to hear your lines of veils, please.
Hello, yes. So yeah, my lines of veils are pretty much the same. Obviously the capital lowercase I, no torturing, no sexual things. Of course, those things are all fade to black. But I feel like I need to be very transparent. So I am playing Wraith, which is probably the darkest of the world of darkness.
It is.
And wraiths need to consume fear in order for me to do anything. So I just want to make sure that that's not going to be any red flags for anybody going forward. Obviously, I'll go about it in a very considerate way to not overstep or to do any of the naughty things. But I just want to make sure that that is okay with everyone at the table. If not, maybe we can homebrew something else. But I just wanted to get everyone's opinion on that.
Before we go to that point, I want to explain a little bit more about the wraith system as well, and also give a discretion to our viewers, who may be interested in trying out said system. Wraith is a very dark system for the simple fact that one player is playing um, basically a geist, a ghost, a passed on soul. And this soul has attached to it a shadow that essentially wants to take control. This shadow can take control by driving this geist into despair to basically killing themselves. So there are a lot of themes of suicide and self-harm with the Wraith IP built into the actual mechanics of the game. And it compounds on itself when you look at gameplay and see that one player plays the Geist and another player at the table plays the Wraith of that same Geist and antagonizes the other player. Um, the reason why in the first iteration I was the only one speaking to Sylvie Jacqueline Silvino, and no one else heard it is because of the nature of the things that Jacqueline had said were jarring. They were indeed very hateful and very hurtful. And he, and this is to say, I am not the type of person who will be like crass or uncouth. But she did point at Sylvie's weaknesses and she did rip into them viciously. And that can be a trigger for a lot of people. She did ruthlessly bully her and make her try to make her feel inadequate. And that could be a trigger for a lot of people. It can also be an exercise for a lot of people as well in something that is darker and is shadow work. But it needs to be approached with a lot of cognizance and remembering that you're doing something very intense and you should actually check in at the end of every session, which is actually spoken about in the Wraith book, where they speak about some of the safety tools needed, literally needed to play this system.
Yeah, and it's important that, at the end of the day, it's just a game. Not real feelings are getting hurt. No one's actually feeling uncomfortable at the table. We just want to make sure everyone is good to go and on the same playing field. We don't want to tear apart friendships.
I think we should round back and kind of clarify that torture line. Are we going to line all sorts of torture or just kind of the physical, gruesome types?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because what Sylvie is undergoing would be mental torture, right?
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
for me personally, it was physical. I don't like as a role player, and I think a lot of you will empathize with this. I see things in this four-dimensional space, and I often feel them. Often if you tell me like in great detail and with enough suspension of disbelief and plausible deniability, I will feel when you smack my character with a hammer, and I will feel when they triumph um, and gain the victory that we've been working for a month, right? So these connections are real. They do mean something. So when your character's feelings get hurt and your feelings get hurt, I understand because you are playing this entity in a fourth dimensional space that is literally our minds melding together and creating something. Absolute magic. So I believe completely and wholeheartedly that like when I see these things and I feel them and they affect me, that I should be aware of them and cognizant and sort of wary. And I don't like the way I feel when I have to visualize gore and someone being tortured and that type of pain. It does not bring me joy. So that is why I lined it. But with the levels of complexity I think that like this world has, that is something to clarify. So I'll say physical torture and gore are my lines there.
Is anyone uncomfortable with any mental side of things? Because I just want to kind of know what to steer clear from.
You lot have yet to make me feel uncomfortable, so have at it.
I agree. I don't think there's been anything between this group of people that have made me uncomfortable. So I'm not. But also, I think just because we're, and this is also for the viewers of my channel, just because we're talking about it now doesn't mean like these are our final law that we can't ever change it. So down the line, let's say that Sylvie's having a conversation that makes me as a person, not as keeper, but as me as raging dog, uncomfortable. It's within my right to say, "Hey guys, we need to, I need to fade to black, or I need to do something with this because I can't." Turns out I didn't know about this veil for me when we started, but now this is a veil for me, and that's okay. Because there's a lot of trust at this table, and we all trust each other.
Definitely, and obviously, I think this goes for everyone here. But DMs are always open. If like something's going too far, even in that session, pop me a DM, be like, "Hey, draw it there," then kind of just be like, "Okay." Or if we need to have a conversation about it, so have you. At the end of the day, we're all friends. I just want to keep it that way.
I agree.
So I got.
How very punctual.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, and that's the thing here, too, is that another reason that I thought it was important to sort of stream this type of session is that it's not something you see. It's not something that a lot of people get exposed to, I found. And it's really healthy to do, especially in a game like this. Um, and I think Keeper, you know, we're going to you next, but like exactly what you said is the exact sentiment of the whole purpose of this.
Is that my cue?
It is.
Okay. I think a lot of the things that I would say personally have already been talked about. For me, harm to children is a line, and any sort of sexual assault will be a line. Everything else, well, actually, and I guess sexually explicit. Actually, I guess for clarification for that, like, I'm fine with that happening. I don't want to see it. Let that fade to black. Like, as you said, Storytell, like the way you put it. Go have fun. I don't want to see it. Let that fade over to the fireplace. We can all imagine what's happening.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so me personally, I don't think I have too many lines and veils. For me, it's just no sexual assault of any kind. Let's keep kids out of it in any capacity. And yeah, fade to black for all else. It can be implied.
All right. Last but not least, the lovely Janice Reeves.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have to say the same thing. And I think everybody kind of hit the nail on the head. It's really just about communication. I think we all kind of have the same idea. I'm personally new to a lot of this, but I just kind of think about it like what are the kind of movies that I would like? I don't like anything that's, and I think the biggest thing is, yeah, it's if you because these stories can go in so many which ways. I think if ever it's just play safe. If you think of a scene that you might want to do but you're not sure if it's going to cross any boundaries, by all means, I think we're really good at communicating with each other. So that's the only thing I have to add. It's just kind of, yeah, I agree with everyone.
Oh yeah. And I really loved the point that you made. You just said that were thinking about the type of movie that you love and that you kind of wanted to recreate. And I think this is a great segue after our lines and veils, which we've got some really great ones. And we've got a lot of, I think the important thing is that we've got a lot of great communication between us already. And that's the thing I want to harp on is that even though we all um, are friends already and we all already have a group dynamic of having at least met each other or been in a game with each other in some capacity, in some form, um, we are still strangers. And I want to make sure that when people online are grabbing strangers from all different parts of the world, they remember that at the end of the day, they're just people too, and that you can come together and do amazing things with them. Like, tell a story that melds the ideas of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Scooby Doo and Power Rangers, but also like perhaps a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you know? And that's what we're going to talk about next. I know, okay, so that sounds crazy, right? I'm just talking out of my ass, not saying anything. What I'm talking about is the types of movies that we love and that we like. And Janice, like I said, you mentioned this before. This is how I sort of decide what kind of tone, what kind of theme we want for this game, for this world. And I use specifically motifs and ideas from some of my favorite pieces of media almost all the time in all of my games. I'm surprised that you guys still play because I feel like I'm so repetitive, and that you probably can read and see everything I'm doing by now. But apparently not, because I still catch you guys by surprise. So go figure. But like I just mentioned, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a very powerful feminist love story, written by unmentionable, and it honestly takes you on a roller coaster that I think really developed a lot of how I think storytelling and character building uh, uh, works the best. And I use that specific iconography a lot in my games. Um, and I love to tell ensemble pieces, which is a story that is not about a singular character, but about an entire group of characters and how they affect each other, which goes back to talk about Scooby Doo. Yeah, Scooby Doo is an ensemble piece. Fight me about it in the comments and fight me about it in your dreams. The five of these characters do not work alone. They do not tell the same story. They tell a very different story about very different things. But together, they tell a story about a ragtag group of kids who travel across country and solve mysteries. And I love it absolutely to death. But I can go on and on about the things that I love. Um, but I want to hear a little bit more about all of this from you guys, and we can start to build the tone and theme of where we're going in this world. And it's also sort of like Lines and Veils. But it's Lines and Veils for like content. So like instead of uh these things being things that we have to do, it's like it gives us ideas that we might be able to pull each other in with. So if someone wants to start, maybe Keeper, you want to start for us? Some of your favorite things, some themes, some ideas
Ooh.
that you love in stories that you're like, maybe if this was in the game, maybe if we were like, maybe Avatar. I see who keeps talking about Avatar? Who's the legally blind gamer? I
Yeah, doing
think your
a
group will like the Avatar RPG.
yeah,
And
I said
there's
that
an
in my chat
Avatar,
too.
yeah. Interesting, interesting. That might be
It
a good try.
it's on Demiplane, FYI.
It is.
Ooh. If it's on
I've actually
Demiplane, then
already
we're
made a
definitely
character
gonna
for
try
it.
it.
I also play tested at a Gen Con this year, and it was so fucking fun.
Okay. Well, thank you, Legally Blind Gamer. This game's not gonna run for, a year or anything like that, so maybe we will play Avatar next. Um,
Ooh.
but yeah, okay, there we go. Everybody loves Avatar, but like, I don't think this is gonna be exactly an adventure story, or very lighthearted. I think it'll be a little darker, but what do you think, Keeper? What are some of your favorite things that you might want to see, uh, kind of thematically or tonally?
Ooh. I am always a fan of the underdog stories, and of course, I don't know what the phrase for it is, but the not enemies to lovers, but just that whole thing of like the group coming together and then becoming this united family almost. that stands up to whatever big bad is. It's a trope that I fall for every single time. Not necessarily romance, but just that the whole the camaraderie of the group coming together as one. I think just any role playing game has that, and then just the conquest of something, the accomplishment of something at the end that they fought and cried and sacrificed for to achieve. That kind of, I guess, that hero's journey kind of thing. So for me, like the conquering of some Herculean task that usually will come with sacrifice, whether it's the old sense of self or maybe an actual sacrifice or something, but a struggle to achieve something.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and I think it's really beautiful to have an idea of something like this already kind of built into a lot of your characters. You are a ragtag group of your own creation, and just trying to get you all into the same room is it going to be exactly what you're talking about, Keeper. Um, so that already kind of makes me think that we're on the right path. But I see a lot of that um in where we're going already. Sylvie, do you have some ideas as well that you want to add into this?
I love trauma and I love a good tragedy. Uh,
Yes.
Okay.
tragedy is always great to have. You know I like it when the heroes win in the end, but you know sometimes someone has to die. So sometimes it makes for really good stories. Um, yeah, that's what I like.
Okay. And to have good tragedy, it needs to have real weight. And that's something that I had struggled with as a storyteller before because I am my so to that point, you can very much be the opposite of an adversarial DM, which is someone who's kind of out to get everyone and win. Um, and it could still be a detriment. Yes. I can definitely say I'm the exact opposite of that adversarial DM. I'm willing to give my players everything. And unfortunately I give them too much. And I'm afraid to give them consequences. But I've learned my lesson. To give and that's another great point, Legally Blind. It needs to have a silver lining, but to even have a silver lining, there needs to be a real darkness, a real sadness, a real loss of something, for there to be a pit that you have to look out of to see that silver lining. And I've had trouble with creating that pit, because I think again, I'm very soft in my fourth dimensional space. I like it butterflies and rainbows up here, unicorns and sweetness, but this is the world of darkness. So Janice, I'm curious. What about you? What are you thinking? What are some of your ideas?
I have to be honest, I just let my dog out, so I missed the topic of what we're talking about.
We're still talking about the tone and theme of what we want the story to
Mm.
emulate.
Oh, well,
So
I do
some
like the. Go ahead.
go ahead, babe.
Oh, I so when you and I had that one-on-one, or when you were actually just kind of um pitching your concept to me about what we were going to do, I did love the idea of exploring the characters instead of, I mean, I love a good Scooby-Doo hunt, but I do like the idea of kind of dissecting the characters and seeing what makes them tick. Um, I thought that was very, uh, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that concept a lot.
Yeah, and it is my favorite. It is the one that I think I'm the most excited that we get to do. And the reason why I think the story is going to be so cool is because you guys all brought really amazing pieces to fit together in a puzzle. And that was my job as the storyteller, is to sort of help thread things together. But whew, you did it. Stellan, I need it from you. I need to hear what, because you've been the decider in a lot of very interesting components in a lot of campaigns that we've been in together that I think have driven the story in ways that I was not prepared for, and you always challenge me. So I'm ready. What are we doing this time?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Ah!
I do not have a preconceived notion of how this story is going to go. We have put a lot of interesting characters on the stage, and we'll see how that all plays out. Parts that I do like about stories is I like it when the characters actually want to be there and be parts of the story. I like teamwork. I like it when we can play off each other's strengths and cover for each other's weaknesses. And I think those make the best stories.
Oh, wholeheartedly agree. Now, when you say you have no idea, are you saying that just to stress me out? Or no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, but okay, so yeah. Oh, okay. All right. All right. I hear you. It's still a challenge. It's still a challenge. I think interesting. Okay. Stag, please. As I take these last notes down and I'm writing, I'm thinking to myself, tell us what you think some of your favorite tones and themes and stories are that you might want to see us kind of explore in the story that we're about to tell.
Gotta say, really like what everybody's been saying so far. If I had to pick a favorite trope, I definitely go for the one that always gets me is the ultimate sacrifice.
Mm,
The one who knows that what must be done must be his final act and does it anyways for the sake of the ones he cares for. That kind of thing. That always gets me. That always manages to make a few tears come out of me. So if you really want to kick me in the stomach and then kick me again while I'm crying, that's how you'll get me.
I love a good cry. Not gonna lie, I'm with you on that one.
I definitely don't cry enough naturally, so that will be a good way to get that out of my system.
Oh yeah, get us right in the feels, storyteller.
don't tempt me.
Ooh, I'm
Make
baiting it.
Chance
Just don't touch
cry.
don't touch my fucking deer though.
Egglebert Part 2.
Oh no, I'm baiting the storyteller. Come on, make us cry. Make us cry.
Egglebert
How
Part 2.
much? How much and what's the
I
safe word?
I will just say, you have free reign over making whatever decisions you have for this campaign. But just remember, every action, especially yours, will have consequences in game.
Am I
Obviously,
being
not,
am I being like what just happened? Who is DMing this game? Hold on.
Uno reverse.
Tongue. just got
Psych!
tongue.
I am the dungeon master now.
I mean, honestly, the fact that you're playing the mage is somewhat terrifying. Um, but alas, here we are. Um, we
I
are
am
gonna
happy.
we're gonna okay, we have some things to look at. Stag, this is your first time seeing some of these things. We're still fixing some of the portal. I am not a developer. I am a designer. I write. I don't code, so some of it's broken still. Don't hate me. I still have a week. I'm finishing it up. Love me for who I am. Um, but this is your starting screen, and if you click on any of these stars, it'll take you to a menu screen. starting with the Chosen, it'll take you to a landing page of your own. And that landing page is where you'll find 3 different stars. There
Oh
will be a
my.
star that leads you to a star map, and that star map shows all of your relationships to all of the different people in your story. When you click on it, you'll be able to see where they are in the world. The other stars will show your inventory, and it'll also show the relevant information for you. And I'm gonna click on the stream here and show that's some of us. So let's look at Janice Reeves. So when we open it up, Janice Reeves' character sheet pops up. You can load the character sheet there,
Oh, this is
and we'll
cool.
pop it up. And if you use the pop out, it just becomes bigger. I like it like this. You can see all of that there. And when you see the stars here, clicking on them will open inventory, journals, and the star map that was mentioned before that shows where all of the relationships in your what? And this comes from one of my favorite applications. It comes from Kumu.io. If you're a storyteller or a dungeon master or something like that, go use Kumu.io. I put a custom background on a really big relationship map, and it has created something really cool that I get to use for my players. And it's a lot of fun. Now, all these frills are for you guys simply because we won't be using maps. And these visual aids and things like that, I think help keep some people engaged. They definitely help keep me engaged. I have ADHD brain, so I needed this more than you guys did. So I'm just gonna thank myself. But besides that, um, there aren't a lot of other things that are super crucial to talk about right now. I think what we can do, because we're about to get into the last half hour, is we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to grab drink snacks. And when we come back, we're going to hop into some real role play. We've set our boundaries, we have everything that we need to do this safely. So I think I'm ready. And if you guys are ready, I want to test this out a little. And we do have an hour left. So we can definitely make the most of it.
Can I make a request as for something I
No.
don't want to see in the game?
Of course.
Continue.
No summary rolls, please.
You
Summary?
dirty bitch.
Dude.
Summary.
Stop bringing that up.
No, no.
We'll
So,
tell
like,
you-
let
we'll tell you
everything
offline.
happen. Roleplay naturally.
Yeah. Lynn.
It's traumatic. It's traumatic for us. Don't we'll have a sit down and talk to you about it later. But
Yeah.
I doubt it'll ever come up.
I love a good tragedy,
Well,
but not that tragic.
LOL. Okay. Apparently, even someone in Gabo's chat knows what it is.
Yeah, Gambit.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Poor
Listen,
guy. He did everything he could to
gonna-
help us.
listen. We're gonna go off stream now so we can talk about it for the next 5 minutes. But I'm gonna grab some water. Sit tight. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
All right, goblins, we'll be right back. Don't go away because we're about to start the adventure. Hitting the BR back screen. And we are back on Goblet's channel.
So, with a world of darkness before us, I hope that the tools that we set before
You're not
players.
live, son. Oh, there it is. Maybe it's just delayed.
And it should be.
Who just scared me?
Lol get spooked.
It is a world of darkness.
It is my job.
Welcome, dear friends, audience members, to a world of darkness. Our story takes place all over this globe, but it starts in the heart of New York City. You and I both know streets like this, maze like ones, dark alleys, the offshoots of streets, the odd subway tunnel left behind in time. All of these places carry a particular sort of darkness, a strange shadow that sometimes creeps further than its bounds should allow. This darkness would seep into everything, and by nightfall, after it slid across the world along the day, it takes over. That is the story that we begin to tell. The one about how the darkness touches everything. As night falls, and the lights, neon, hazy, and luminous of all shades, begin to fill the night sky with a dense fog. Nothing but the moon can be shown, full, and it shines directly over one particular shop, middle of Brooklyn, in a back end district where the warehouses used to be. But now there's a brewery and some kids, probably about 24, NYU students, all hang out there. Further down, it's a tattoo parlor and a costume shop and kind of like a speakeasy theater. Whatever it is, this multifaceted community center, this hangout spot has attracted a lot of them. And that has been pretty good for Keeper. Because otherwise, business is steady, but it seems like having the same clientele all the time doesn't pay like it used to. Not in Brooklyn. See more and more of the abandoned warehouses turning into more and more upscale, bougie, frontal shopping centers and kombucha houses, tea lounges, and acai breakfast places. The world is changing around you again. And as you look outside the front of your shop window, Keeper, down past the end of the street where one of those last abandoned warehouses seems to have just filled its lease.
Hmm. Who is currently in the store with me? Is it Theodore, or is he gone for the day?
Theodore's gone for the day because it is a little late, but Lily, who didn't do much work in the sense of not having too many clients come in or scheduled, has just been hanging around the shop with you all day and hasn't left yet.
I'll turn to Lillian. Lily, darling, do you have any idea what's moving in down the street?
Oh, no, Keeper. I'm not sure. I think someone said something about like a cafe, but it
Ooh,
opens at 1.
in the morning or the afternoon? It doesn't matter. It still seems late for.
Both.
Mm. Oh,
Both. Yeah.
ooh, nightlife.
Because it's supposed to open up as like a venue at night too, something like that.
Oh, marvelous. I wonder if that means we're gonna get jazz and poetry nights. That should be good. Those
No.
kinds of people do love our place. And I'll
Keep
turn and throw my arms out across the store.
I don't think it's gonna be Jazz Keeper.
Why not? Dream big, Lily.
Dream big, yes. Uh, but it is called Night Sky. And you know that well, there's a big EDM scene around here, and I bet it'll probably be another rave place,
Ugh.
which is not my favorite, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Wait, EDM. That's the loud one, right? The
yeah,
one,
it's the loud one.
the nonsense sounds.
So I think the only problem is that, well, when that bar moved in, we got a lot of drugs, right? What do you think's gonna happen with this 1 a.m. rave?
Hmm. Well, hopefully we can provide some goods before they go in and turn them nicely, gently, firmly away when they come in drunk. We probably want to take a look at our service policy for your side of the shop. Definitely don't want another drunk person coming in getting, oh, gods know what, tattooed upon themselves. Let's take another look at that policy.
Honestly, I don't mind tattooing a dick on a dumb, drunk frat kid's head. It's kind of
That's
funny. It's almost retribution.
perhaps. The problem is, though, is when they sober up and it turns out their daddy is a lawyer. This is New York, after all. Isn't the same anymore.
Yeah, let's give in to their entitlement.
Hey, we could take their money, but just not have to give it back later. That's the secret, right? I am. I'm gonna go take a look at that, and I'm gonna open the door and go walk down the street.
And Lily just kind of, you catch it out of the corner of your eye, her rolling hers. You get along, but it's moments like these that you remember that she's so young.
She'll understand.
And
She'll
as you,
understand one day. But something news here. We gotta go see.
when you get to this warehouse, most of the construction hasn't even started, but you see that plainly there's uh, a lot of material and lighting being brought in. You can see that the lights are already fixed into the warehouse and they're already turned on. Giant bright floodlights. So the entire inside of this building is lit up, probably to make sure that if anyone were trespassing, the cameras would pick them up or people would be able to see them clearly.
Hmm. I will step up to the door frame. Does this appear to be a home or is this just a construction site?
The building was once a warehouse, much like your tattoo parlor was,
Mm-hmm.
much like most of the buildings on this entire block. And you walk up to like two very large double doors with metal handles centered in front. You can look through a pane that's mostly covered, but only in paper and taped on, and see inside, which is empty, except for pillars, beams, and columns that go from floor to ceiling, which is a very high one, higher than yours, almost 20, 30 feet high. Uh, from what you can tell, they're starting construction on a stage in the far back end. You see that there's probably some construction behind it as well, but you can't really make out exactly what uh, all of it is. It's still in its early stages, but it checks out with what Lily had mentioned earlier.
I'll just try to. I put my hand on the door frame and try to, or on the door handle, try to open it.
It is locked.
Drat. I'll turn and walk back over to my store. I bet that's gonna be where they're gonna put one of those JDs in. They call. Could be fun. Could be interesting. Could have more people. Should check our inventory. I'll back. I'll just walk over to the store, muttering to myself. And I'll just
As
open up
we
the door and just go, Lily, do you think that goth kids are still a thing? Is that EDM?
as we as we fade to darkness and find ourselves in New York, but no longer in Brooklyn. The uh, speeding lights of taxi cars and pedestrians and motorists along the streets kind of haze past us as we find ourselves in Upper Manhattan in the Entex building, one of the largest corporations on the planet. Entex has a hand in every single industry on that you could think of. And they are rightly dominating almost every industry they have a hand in. Because of this, Entex's enterprise uh, can be seen everywhere. It would make sense that, of course, they've found their way into our story. Our hunter, our prodigal child, finds herself in Upper Manhattan at the 80th floor of this building. Entex has many, many forays. We've already mentioned this, but their newest is ancient history and preservation. That's why they've called Janice Reeves one of the foremost historical curators in the uh, Eastern Seaboard and the most amenable to the contract that she had to sign. Now, Janice finds herself late night working in this office space, curating, cataloging to her mind's content, which may have been worn out several hours ago. But a long day of work is nothing new to Janice. What is new is the strange planchette that you come across, Janice. This uh, triangle, almost embossed in uh, a black sheen, um, is traditionally uh, made of wood or made of some specific type of metal. This one, however, you can't quite tell what it is made of. You do know that the engraved letters are all embossed in brass. And there seems to be some strange layering uh, going on with the uh, planchette itself. Now, a planchette is a device used to contact the dead. You can see engraved the yes, no signifiers and all the letters of the English alphabet. You also see the bottom has some strange insignia uh, that you've also never seen before, Janice. While looking over this planchette, mulling it over in your hands, under the light of your desk, a shadow flickers in the corner of the room. The
I would
shadow.
immediately
Mm,
reach for my
mm.
oh god, sorry. God. Well, my attention obviously would be piqued, but I wouldn't want to show any signs of startle. Probably look over in the corner just slightly, kind of concealing that I'm investigating. Um, and probably would put my hand um, on my cigarette case. Probably start slowly reaching for it. And I'd wait to see if I hear any other shuffles.
There's no stranger feeling, Sylvie, than when someone holds on to the strange tablet you're bound to. It feels like they grip your heart, the one that no longer beats. Feels like they squeeze it and caress it with their fingers as they dial letters and responses on it. Even now, you stand in the corner, watching as this woman inspects it as if it were something alien. You wish, don't you? Don't you just wish you could reach out and talk to her, touch her, take her place? You could. She's holding it, you know. You could just push into her. You could take over. You could take her. You're strong enough. Do it, Sylvie. Take her. Sylvie. Sylvie.
Not her.
Sylvie.
She's
Take her.
no, not her. Not yet. No, not yet.
It has been years since someone has held it. Take her now.
You're not going to win this time. I would like.
Sylvie.
I would like to expend a pathos in the corpus to cause a window to fly open and a breeze to enter into the room. As she
This
starts like
breeze.
tracing the
Mhm.
inscriptions on this.
The breeze blasts through the room. Janice. Slashing all the papers free from the from your your desk, sending them flying across the room. And as you look up, startled, there's a woman standing stark in the middle of the room amidst the flurry of pages, dressed in a bright red beret and a matching dress. She looks at you, troubled. Your cigarette case is in your
Well,
hand
my
now.
dear, that is a very interesting entrance that you have. Even though you've kind of disrupted the rest of my evening, given that you've scattered my papers all around. Who am I in the presence of?
If I don't say anything, she can't see me. I'm just gonna stare at you, very coldly, very quietly. I don't move. I'm very still.
She can see you. Oh, Sylvie, you have to take her. She can see you. You know what this means. You know. Right.
She can't see me.
Janice
She
would
can't see
calmly
me.
And you hear this woman
Janice would
speaking to herself, Janice. Yes.
Janice would calmly stand up from her desk and turn around. Does Janice have the her heirloom on her?
Always, I would think.
I think at this time she would gently take the heirloom in her hand. Well, does the cat have your tongue, or are you just impressed to see me? Please, who am I speaking with?
As you turn around, Janice, are you still holding the planchette?
No, I left it on the desk.
She's gone.
Hmm. Isn't that interesting? Um, at this time, she would activate the shard.
What does this look like? What does it look like when Janice taps into this power?
Um, she would start having a blank stare, and her eyes would flicker in the back of her head, just subtly. She looks like there's her body stiffens as if it was a shock that goes through her body, but something that she seems like she's done many times before. It almost looks a little painful, but not something that she outwardly expresses.
Glaze over your complexion. and your expression almost make you look inhuman. But your stark cold gaze reveals the outline of the woman still standing, not very far from you. The energy is a deep, muddled, black ombre aura of gray and silver. There's a darkness it's suffused in. You can almost see something trying to crush a light, to eat it.
Janice familiar with wraiths?
As a well-seasoned hunter, yes. And you would know that she has not turned yet. And she is still just a spirit.
Well, don't be shy. I can see you. Why are you here?
Do I know she's a hunter?
She hasn't said anything of the sort. And you could make a roll here to see if Sylvie knows.
I would love to make a roll. What would you like me to roll?
I would say you can choose here. This is the thing that I'll take from my um, my tenure as a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons DM. Make things more fun and put it in your hands because I want you to tell me what your character does. You choose the skill that you want to use here, and I will interpret how that skill gives you information. I will say it's a fairly easy success. I'll say Sylvie probably knows of hunters at least, but we'll see how much about hunters she knows and whether or not she'd be able to deduce whether Janice is a hunter or
Uh,
not. So
Being a
whatever
member
you
of the
choose.
Haunters Guild, I have a issue with hunters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I well, let's find out.
Would you allow me to roll intelligence and alertness?
I will.
Okay, I'll roll. Figure out how to use this roll system. Five successes.
You notice the crest on the cigar case that she has picked up in her hand. And it's the crest of the Reeves family, a very powerful, in fact, the most powerful hunter clan um, on the globe currently. They are known for many, many things. And that specifically, they are particularly cruel and unforgiving to any creature from the world of darkness.
I would like to deapparate into the floor. I don't want to be anywhere near this hunter. No soul forges for me. So I'm going to attempt to try to hide.
As you disapparate with underneath the floor, you reappear 5 feet from the planchette.
Fuck. Are you still looking at me, Hunter?
Yes.
Great. I'm gonna need you to make a roll for me. So I'm gonna roll wits and pandemonium. And you need to succeed an intelligence roll. So let me roll that quick.
Now, Janice,
Mhm.
as you watch this spirit hastily try to dip beneath the floor, the energy disappears, but the glow of it reappears not very far from you. However, you notice that it's almost as if the energy is beamed from that item on your desk back into this room. You see it glow for an instant, and then suddenly the spirit appears again.
Who? Um, uh, without hesitation, Janice would put two and two together, and she grabs the planchette. And
All
I
right, as you attempt to grab it, Sylvie, your roll. Muted, maybe?
5 successes is what they'll need to beat.
Thank you. So it's going to be intelligence and what in contest?
This just says intelligence. Doesn't give me a second skill.
intelligence.
Okay, so
You
roll
can
intelligence.
roll
Be 5
pathos
success.
if you have it.
We'll say pathos is going to
Pathos.
be intelligence, and you can use a skill of your choice, Janice. That is a mental skill.
Mm-hmm. Um, I'm trying to. Would my modifier be 4?
Yep, your intelligence is 4, and I would say you can use probably occult or academics and or
Mm-hmm.
any of those skills, maybe even investigation.
I think in this instance, I would do intelligence and occult. Mm. Oh. And I don't know how to do my other one. I'm not very good at rolling.
It's okay.
Uh,
Um,
because
Have
my
we
sheet keeps
have
running
we
away.
decided how we're doing contested roles?
I think we just, well, specifically for this one, we're gonna use, I think we'll just use skills. And I think we can keep using skills as contested with the contested roles as well.
Uh, the Wraith system uses a difficulty, and I believe there's botches and no crits, and the Hunter system has
We
crits
also
and
use
no
exploding
botches.
criticals
I think
as
we'll
well.
probably not use crits or botches.
Okay.
I think what we'll take mostly from is the 5th edition systems, try to emulate those as much as possible while keeping true to the older systems and just allowing them to be who they are and still letting them play at the table. This is going to mean that there are some inconsistencies between the different skins, but that is going to be something that we will continue to keep an eye on and make sure it doesn't feel overpowering in different senses. But also, I think we all are here to tell the story, so it also makes it easier to know that like no one's out to get anyone. So we don't really have to worry about who has what powers. But when it does come to rolling, and it does come to people being able to do things and who has the power to do things and who might be uh the avatar of the group, we want to make sure that that is um balanced as well. And that is things that I've looked at. That's things that I've hopefully fixed with the one-on-ones that we've done, and the power distribution. Um, the mage is a hobo, so he's not like a
Oh,
also he's not a mage and also a millionaire, because that would be too much. Um,
I like trees.
but I think we're gonna keep it really light and easy for the mixing of rules. We're gonna rest on 5e and sort of pull everything up towards that. Um, but I hope that sort of sets us on a better track for roles and stuff at least.
I figured out my problem.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I rolled the wrong one first because it says intelligence plus intelligence. So I need to click on occult first and then click in and then set the selectability to intelligence
Gotcha.
because it says rolling occult and then it says selectability and then that's where it gives me intelligence. Right? Am I understanding that right?
It should.
I mean, I'm all for that other roll I did. I think it was really good, but I don't think I did it right. And then my modifier would be 4 for intelligence.
Yeah,
Does that
see, I see
sound
intelligence,
yeah? Okay.
intelligence. And I'm grabbing a hunter versus ghost.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Hey, listen, we gotta start with some we gotta hit the beam boom 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 bang.
I just realized
Yeah.
your Twitch chat is showing up in the game chat.
Yeah. I did that because I have such a hard time because I don't have enough screens right now because I lost one of my screens. It's my MacBook screen broke, unfortunately. So I need the chat there so I don't miss it all the time and I can talk to you guys in the chat. But I think it's occult first and then intelligence. I can pull it up and see for you here.
I think that's correct.
Yeah,
You
see,
choose
that's
the
the intelligence I did. So it was like 2 things. But I'm supposed to
Oh, I see. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
So click occult first and then do
Mhm.
intelligence as the ability. And then the
How
modifier
many dots?
is I don't think there's a modifier. The difficulty is 5 though.
Difficulty is 5. Okay.
You got some dice for
Oh,
this. Let's see. Let's see. Let's
oh,
see.
it's not good. I gotta fail.
Oh no. 4 successes. Tell us, Sylvie, what happens?
I'm gonna like
All right.
look to her concerned, and then I'm gonna look back at the planchette. And I'm gonna touch it, and a sea of spiders are just gonna start forming out of it and start overflowing off the table and down onto the floor. All like kind of cascading around your feet as they start to climb up your legs.
Um she is she is alarmed, but she's not panicked. And that is because she has an understanding of what it is that she's up against. And so I would say I would have to roll for composure. And because at this point, what she would be trying to do is to expel the wraith.
Composure, please, first. DC 5, if you would like to, like you mentioned. But Sylvie, are there after effects of this haunt?
If she fails, yes, but what I just said may not happen because the shadow can intervene.
I'm rolling.
So you can make a totally different effect happen if you wish.
I'd also like to mention that re-rolling from willpower, spending willpower to re-roll is an option, and succeeding at a cost
Ooh,
is an option.
that is a good thing to note. Is succeeding at a cost just for hunters, or is it also for
All
everyone?
systems.
It's all
Nice.
systems. If you get some successes, but not enough successes, you can succeed at a cost.
And see, I'm so lucky that I have players that are very well versed in the world of darkness because I'm very new to it. So
Me
thank you,
too.
y'all. But um now if you do want to succeed at a cost, that is possible. Um and you're only one away from a success as well. So 4 dice, you could re-roll some of those missed dice.
I know you're trying to help me. I don't get it. I'm doing my best.
Let's
All right.
let's say you succeed at a cost.
hmm Okay, if I
Yeah.
succeed at a cost,
And that's a choice that the
you,
player has to make.
so for instance, I could use a willpower, right? So if I fail at this one, I can use willpower to re-roll.
Yes.
And
You
what's my difficulty?
It's the same roll. You get to pick up to 3 of
Mhm.
your fails and re-roll those, potentially changing a fail into a success. And it costs 1 willpower point.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just roll and see how this goes. Do I have a difficulty or no?
You
5.
re-roll the dice that are there already. So like
And
you see those 4 dice that you rolled blanks on? You can
Oh,
spend a
so
willpower. Yeah.
okay. All right. I will spend a willpower. And I'm going to re-roll occult and intelligence, right?
No,
I'm
just roll
trying.
1 die. You're
Just
good.
roll one.
Wait,
3.
no, they can reroll 3.
It's
it,
up
I
to
would
3 dice.
Oh,
in
with
chat
each
just
willpower?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
roll up to 3. So 3 of the fails they can reroll. As long as they're not blood dice or rage dice, but we won't get into that.
But I'm only re-rolling one failed.
you can re-roll 3 failed. You have 4 fails, so
Oh, that's a 4 fail.
Yeah, the
you
ones that
have
are
4
blank that aren't
successes and 4 fails.
the ones that are not little fire icons are fails.
Oh, I see. Oh. So
So you do slash roll 3d10. Anything above a 6 would be a success.
3d10. And and that's gonna, I'm sorry. What am I? I'm just looking at the sheet, and so I don't know what 3d10 means.
No.
Okay.
So in
So
the
then,
chat window,
Mhm.
in the very bottom right hand corner, it says public role,
Uh-huh.
and there's a text box.
Just type
And
3d10.
type /roll space 3d10.
Oh. I love this. Okay.
hell yeah.
And that is 2 successes. So you have a total of 6 successes now.
So you succeed instead of fail. Hey, hey. Okay. Thank you, Ben, because I
Thank you,
needed a
Ben.
refresher on that.
Yep.
So
Now,
upon the fail, you would see the tempest start to affect Sylvie a little bit, and her hair, which was just kind of calm and sitting there, is now like blowing rapidly, like she's in a windstorm.
and these spiders don't phase you, Janice, but it seems that attempting to scare you off, this spirit has only strained themselves.
Um. Yeah. I would go after. I would go after the planchette. I would like I had attempted to before, and grab it because clearly there's a connection with it. Um.
And we're gonna fade to darkness as you dash towards the planchette, stepping through ethereal spiders, and you grasp it in your hands. And we find on the lower level of the Entex building, leaving with a very exasperated COO, Darren Dixon. He once again reiterates to you, Sir Stellan, the merger is not final, but we already promised them these artifacts for their museum trade-off. We can't go back on our word now.
We have to. Those artifacts are priceless, senseless. There's no reason they need those artifacts. It has no value to them. Those are sacred to us.
What do you mean there's no reason? They gave us a $500,000 stipend. Stellan,
Yeah, just give it back. We want the artifacts.
You're not listening.
I
Those
hear you.
those artifacts have been appraised at less than half of what we've been given. They are going to be put in a museum vault.
You're not listening. They are worth far more than that.
No, they are not. They are sentimental to you. That is not equal priceless.
Darren, I thought we went over this. Not everything is quite as it seems. Have you not been getting that?
I beg of you. Please, Stellan. Promise me you will not go back up there.
Did you see those artifacts?
Stellan.
Did you looked at them, but did you really
Stellan,
see
please.
them?
Just promise me you are not going to go back up to that office and that I'm not going to get any complaints that there are anything missing. Is anyone hanging around the vault? I can't come get you again.
We really need those artifacts.
Stellan, this is serious. They're gonna arrest you. And then what am I gonna do?
I don't know. You need to get those back. If Byway isn't going to work, you need to find a way. Those are very important to our clan. You saw it, right?
Stellan, the Gimmelwald Foundation. It's that. It's an organization. It's made to do a thing. It's a purpose. It's not a family. Do you understand this?
You still haven't answered my question.
No, Stellan, I did not see it.
Didn't we have the talk? Am I forgetting things again? I am probably forgetting things again.
Stellan, you talk a lot, but this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about right now. Talk or not, they're already promised. I'm sorry.
Can we promise something else? Is there no way of getting out of it? I mean, we got out of the rest of the contract. Can we just buy it from them?
And he kind of turns his head and looks at you and thinks for a moment. You want them back so bad. You wouldn't think of anyone else. We have an entire company that's going under. And employees we can't pay, Stella.
Do you think they'd let us back up so I can show them to you? One last look.
One last look. And then you promise.
That I promise. Cross my heart. We'll do whatever you think is best. But first, I grab him by the side of his face. I need you to see things. And I force a little bit of my glamour into him to enchant his view.
Not this again. Stellan! I hate when you do this.
Oh, so we did have the chat.
Just keep your voice down, okay? There was no chat. Usually if I pretend, you just forget that you told me, but yes. This, it's not, can't be real. And I won't believe it's real. And I will continue to believe, what is that? When he looks over, and sees that there's a strange, long-legged, antlered creature.
Oh, hey, Frank.
Damn it. Okay, Stellan, just be where we're going.
Yeah, sure. Excuse me, receptionist. Yeah, my friend Darren here, he just really needed one last look at those artifacts. We need to check the serial number, and can we just see them one last time? Uh, I promise we'll leave. No funny business.
And she kind of furrows her eyebrows at you, and Darren steps forward, flashes identification of who he is, and she kind of you to continue on to the elevator. And he drags you along. I hate when you put that weird glitter or whatever you call it all over me. I just
It's a
like
small
seeing.
world after all.
I'm
It's a
seeing
small
wrong this
world
time.
after all.
Can you just
It,
listen for a second, please?
I hear you.
As you also hear a large commotion above you, and
Ooh.
the elevator lights go out, and everything in the entire building goes dark.
Huh.
And we fade to darkness. As just on the outskirts of New York City, after a long travel, a uh, duo of travelers find themselves breaching their destiny. Stag, the precipice of the midnight hour is approaching, and you feel the darkness, the shadow itself looming. It feels as though it's cast over the city, and it's taking down the light of it all, covering it in gloom. You feel it in the shard that pulses within you. As you touch it, visions begin to come to you, strange ones. You're not sure where you are, and you're not sure why you're there. But you do know that you're somewhere far from where you had thought you should be, somewhere on the other side of the planet. It sounds like an opera plays on and echoes throughout the chamber. It sounds like someone, a violinist, a lone one, stands backstage. As you approach, stepping through the black and white, the still frames of this memory or this future possibility, it's still unclear. You see the generations of actors and actresses that have played, but the only constant amongst the shifting entities is this fiddler in dreams. A woman dressed in black, slowly but surely amidst the haze and rush of all that had visited this theater, all that had sang and acted here, lazily letting her bowstring slide across each and every note of a sorrowful melody. As you get closer, your shadow looms over her. And as you move closer, your shadow overtakes the scene, leaving her in pitch black darkness, leaving her alone, the crowd disappearing, everything around her consuming the light, the shard of energy that hang around a necklace on her neck. You reach towards it, the shadow of your claw ripping not just at the shard but into her chest, deep through her body, turning her into shadow, turning her into nothing. When you awake from your premonition, you find yourself in a cold sweat, lying by the fireside, heart's head rested at your chest, your heart beating through your ribcage. You feel like if it weren't for the pressure of his skull, it would have already burst through. It feels like whatever took her is coming for you.
I would reach up and start caressing Heart's fur as a way to calm myself down from a very lucid nightmare slash premonition, one that forbids what could be my fate if I don't stop moving. I also find myself crying for the woman. Such a sad song to symbolize what could not have been stopped. The loss of a life is always to be mourned, be it someone you know or someone you don't. So I sit there next to the fire with Heart laying upon me, and I just cry silently to myself.
As the midnight hour approaches and the flames die down, leaving you in the dark with only the soft glow of your avatar continuing to bathe you, you look up into the stars, the constellations clear in your eyes. Fate draws us all closer, closer than we think, but the darkness would never reveal this to us. As we find ourselves diving into this world of darkness. I hope that you will join us as we continue forward. But for tonight, we must bid you adieu. We must begin to say our farewells. And we're going to do a time honored tradition. We're going to try to keep it really brief because I know we're running over. I don't want to keep you too long, Stag. Um, but we are going to talk about stars and wishes, which we will do in our next session, where we give someone a star that we choose, each of us, and basically talk about a moment that we really loved. And we give our wishes for the next session. Um, we're gonna do a fast forwarded version of this, where I'm gonna give you guys a couple stars, and I'm gonna ask you to think about your wishes for next week. But Janice, first time role playing in this new system,
Woo!
and you blew it out of the water. Like, come on. Like, we love a first time player who does their absolute damnedest, and you carried the role play. And also, you have a very amazing voice, and I've already told you that already, and I'm your number one biggest fan. Keeper.
Well, thank you. I need the pat on the back because I'm sweating over here.
It was
No,
awesome.
you
The
did
best.
fucking amazing. You did amazing.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Keeper, a, a veteran role player always just shows up and shows out. I had to start with you. I just felt like it was necessary. And we got so much out of just one little scene with you that I don't know. I'm glad to have you. I'm so fucking glad to have you. I'm
So
so
excited for
fucking
you.
glad
It's
to
gonna be
have
so
you.
much fun. Why is there an EDM club in my neighborhood? Get the fuck out.
Gentrification. Woo! Um, Sylvie, bring in the heat. Bring in the fucking heat.
Putting
I
the
did
guild
not.
that hunts hunters with the hunters. Great.
Oh,
I mean,
fine.
I thought you guys would talk it out, but Sylvie said it was on site, and it definitely was.
The unknown
I'm here
woman
for
does
it.
not take yeses.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Is it
Sir
bad that
Stellan,
because
oh, sorry, go ahead.
is it bad because I know it's shy, automatically think that it's just gonna be terrible? And I'm like
That's pretty
instantly on
accurate.
guard. Is that a little meta?
No.
No, listen, I think you have the right to be. You have the right to be.
To be fair, I'm part of the Haunters Guild, and literally our thing is to kill ghost hunters. So,
Okay, I don't feel so bad.
Did we lose the storyteller?
Muted. But
Oh,
please, Stellan, I think obviously we already knew you were going to come in with a lot of story elements and a lot of layers. And I think the layers that you brought in just the first session, and not only the help that you brought, is going to make sure that we stay on course because I can already see myself getting bogged down in these roles. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Stag, we only got a little bit of you today. I'm, I know, I know that sadness was, oh God, it was too real. If I had a single star for tonight, it would be Stag. Because that last scene, to be able to end on that last scene,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's up to sleep.
yeah. Like, oh my God, that was too good. I didn't think you were gonna do that.
Yeah.
But the way that it sets up the way that we're gonna do everything else in the next session, I think I already have some ideas. I'm excited. I think we have an all-star cast, and I'm ready to tell an all-star saga. Um, a really cool chronicle. Um, but I want you guys to think of some wishes for next week. I don't want to keep you all too long, but we're at least going to start saying goodnight to the stream. And you guys have closing statements, please. Talk, chatter, and leave as you wish. But I'm here to take questions as well. But I don't want to keep anyone who has to go. Um, thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a part of a world of darkness tonight, y'all.
Absolutely. Are we doing a raid, storyteller?
We could do a raid. I've 8 viewers over here.
I know. I have quite a few as well. I was looking at the Vampire Masquerade channel. There is a group that's been going for a little bit. Rolling Nomads.
Okay, I'm on Streamlabs. I've never raided before. How do I do that?
Ooh, I usually do it by going to. I do it from my browser. So if you go to
Okay,
twitch.com and go to your creator
right?
dashboard,
Okay.
and then there should be a button
Ooh,
somewhere on
learning new
there.
things.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a raid together. Once you
Learning. Ooh, we're double rating, so that's so fun. Okay.
okay, let me know if you
And
got
you
Stream Manager open.
said I've got the stream manager open.
Okay, do you see a raid channel button?
Um,
Let me know if you do not.
stream raid channel.
Okay, click on that. And then you should see might see some channels open, or we can search. I think I'll raid. Let's raid another fellow Vampire Masquerade. So I'm gonna raid Rolling Nomads. See if they pop up. They do.
Okay. And I'm gonna raid. Let's see. Let's raid the Jedi Master. Oh, well, that's Brazilian, so we probably wouldn't be able to understand that one. We'll do Lost in Los Angeles. That sounds cool. And
Ooh.
look at this setup. That's dope. Lost in Los Angeles.
All right, goblins. Everyone, hang on. We're going to do a raid. Stay for the raid. You get to collect points, and you can use them to fart all over my channel and steal my shoes, because that's is my two biggest things you guys like to do. So thank you so much, everyone,
Oh gosh.
for tuning in. We'll be back, at least in Raging Gobbo, tomorrow for our next chapter of Texas. So tune back in tomorrow for some more vampire. God damn it, Gambit! Have a good night, everyone.